Reverend Al Sharpton, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our call. Now, Jenny, that's what's going on in Georgia, and they'll probably keep Wade on the stand the rest of the day trying to break him on ethical questions on, when, what, which really has nothing to do with the evidence against Trump. But let me ask you this. If they find him or District Attorney Willis unethical, what does that mean? Is it possible for them to be off the case, but the case still go forward?
Absolutely, because what this judge is presiding over right now are hearings to determine whether or not they engaged in activities that presented a conflict of interest, were unethical, which would, question their ability, their capacity to serve as the presiding district attorney, the overarching prosecutor, and then the special prosecutor. If the judge were to remove either one or both of them, that doesn't mean that the case now dissolves, that there's no longer a case. The indictments still hold. What would have to happen, though, is another prosecutor and special prosecutor would have to be appointed. So what it means in the main is really that these trials that were set to move forward, might not move forward on the schedule that was planned. I believe it was like they were to commence in August, but does not mean that these cases get thrown out. The evidence is still there. The charges hold regardless of who brings them, because the evidence was, as a grand jury found, probable cause to believe that a crime occurred. So just because prosecutors are removed does not mean that the case dies. Trump would like it to die.
Now, all right, so that case can live on, even if in the worst case scenario for those that support D.A. Willis, even if they have to step aside. Now, let's come to New York. Trump in court today in Manhattan, the Manhattan hush money case. The judge said that he wants it to go to trial right away within 40 days. Explain that case and the fact that it looks like that case may be the first case.
It does. And what's interesting was, you may recall that this was the very first case where charges were brought back in March of last year. And then a question was raised that because the charges here are not, if you will, the most egregious, they're not the biggest felonies. These aren't the charges where he sought to overthrow the government, overturn an election. These aren't the cases where we're looking at classified documents. What happened here in this case is that it looks like the allegation is that he conspired and essentially violated campaign election laws here in New York State when he, working with Michael Cohen, who was his attorney, his personal attorney, got Michael Cohen to write Stormy Daniels a check for $130,000. Stormy Daniels being a person with whom he had some type of relationship, and it was his concern that right before the election, that if she was going to come out, it would be damning and it would essentially affect his chances of winning the election. So he had Michael Cohen pay her $130,000. And then it appears that they cooked the books and wrote up the books, presented these payments in the books in such a way as to suggest they were regular business activities when in fact they weren't. And so these are the charges. It looks like now the case is going to go forward. It was decided today that the case would begin in March. And so there was a point where it seemed like this case was going to take a back burner, possibly to one of Jack Smith's cases, the case centering on the January 6th insurrection and the overthrowing of the government. But because that case has been held up because of the immunity issues, and we may get into that, that date has been postponed. And right now it's indefinite when that case is actually going to occur.
All right,
so
but in the hush money case, that you just said, now has been seems to be on a fast track according to what the judge said today, and where forward. He had his attorney Michael Cohen, who I know and have had on Politics Nation, paid this woman the reason he paid her was so she didn't disrupt his campaign. So that makes it a campaign violation. And he
That's
repaid.
exactly right.
He repaid Michael Cohen the money, cooking the books, fraudulently saying why Michael Cohen was getting paid. The key to that
Exactly.
case is the witness against him is Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen saying we cooked the books and that I paid her for this reason and possibly this lady. We don't know all of it, but that's the Alvin Bragg case. Now,
right. And we
while
also know, let's just also add, there is documentation too about how payments moved.
right.
So it's both the words of Michael Cohen, and some say that he is not a credible witness, because of all the activities with which he engaged with Trump over the course of the years that he was employed by Trump. But, a lot of things that he has said have actually proven to be true. So
Now, we also have been told that Judge Ergen, who is the judge on the New York State Attorney General Tish James's case,